morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ango Show Live. And today we are talking AEW All Out. We're going to be talking about some other stories. We're going to just chat. We're going to hang out for a little bit. Hopefully you guys are all having a great day. Today is February. Bro, it is September 6th, 2024. This is the final episode before the weekend, and then obviously we'll be back live next Monday. If you guys need a reminder, all you need to know is that we are live Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Very fun time so far since doing this. I'm very, very excited about what we have planned for the future of the channel. A lot of great things happening. As always, we're going to talk about pro wrestling, and we're going to be engaging in the chat. So I'm looking forward to this. If you guys want to support the channel, there's a couple ways to do so. First, you could just help a brother out by simply liking the stream and sharing it if you'd like. And then maybe you want to do a little bit more for your boy. And if you do, that's completely fine. You could drop a super chat. Super chats are greatly appreciated. Or you can help a brother out by going directly to the Stream Elements link that's been posted in the chat. You don't have to. But if you drop a tip or a super chat, it guarantees that your questions or comments get read on the stream, which we will absolutely do. If you become a member, it guarantees that your comment will be read on the stream as well. You don't have to, but if you guys want to support your boy, that's the easiest and the best way to do so. AEW All Out is taking place this weekend. I don't know how I feel about it. There's a couple things I'm excited for. There's a couple things I'm really not so excited for, but that's okay. I feel like it's a solid card. I feel like just as pretty much every other AEW pay-per-view that exists, yeah, it's gonna be very good matches for sure. Very good matches. I think it's safe to assume that AEW will have some very good matches. We'll obviously talk about that in just a little bit. I'm taking a look at the chat. Shout out to all of you guys for pulling up. We got Todd Crow, Raging Girl Gamer, Right Hand Cam. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to the members of this channel. I appreciate y'all. I see Trevor in the chat. I see Storm. Storm says, hey, are you still getting off that belt at 100K subscribers? Listen, if we hit it by this year, we're going to do it. If not, we'll have to wait. We'll have to figure something else out. I don't know. If you guys don't want to subscribe, you don't have to. It's not forced to. It's not a big deal. But, you know, it is what it is. Shout out to Nate TV also joining us in the chat. Got a lot of people here pulling up. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for that. As you guys know, with these live streams, I'm going to be engaging with the chat. And the priority always goes to the members. So just keep that in mind. And we'll be reading stuff. We'll be talking. We'll be hanging out for the next hour. And it should be fun. AEW All Out taking place Saturday night, live from Chicago. Just if you guys didn't know, they are struggling to sell out. Not very cool for AEW. This is the first time that they've done an event in Chicago for All Out that hasn't sold out. So clearly there is a little bit of an issue or a little bit of a concern maybe that AEW is struggling to sell tickets to the event. I don't know if they need to get out of Chicago. I don't know what the situation is. I do feel like to a certain extent though, AEW in Chicago, it's too much. I think maybe that could be the issue. You know, they're constantly in Chicago. They're constantly in the same markets. AEW probably needs to improve their marketing a little bit, if I'm being honest, because 6,000 tickets, it's still good, you know, but this is a company that can sell way more, and they're capable of selling way more. And I don't know. This is the first time that All Out hasn't sold out, so it's kind of crazy. Jason in the chat says, didn't All Out didn't do great last year, did it? It did. That was when Tony Khan was met with a lot of backlash because of the CM Punk situation, which is unfortunate. But maybe that's the case. Maybe AEW losing CM Punk in Chicago. I don't know. Chicago is getting WWE NXT, which will feature CM Punk. So who knows? Maybe people watch both and they're like, listen, we're just going to choose WWE. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is, but they are obviously having a little bit of a harder time selling tickets. So yeah, we got a super chat already off the rip from Phil Batway. Phil Batway dropped $1.99. He says, "Do we think Mustafa Ali will join AEW at All Out?" I feel like they got some surprises. And I do feel like Mustafa Ali will probably be joining AEW. So again, let's read that super chat. Let's answer it. Phil Batway says, "Do you think we will see Mustafa Ali at AEW All Out?" And it's a great question because I do think we will. Mustafa Ali's from Chicago. Mustafa Ali just left TNA. I don't feel like Mustafa Ali would have left TNA if it wasn't for getting a deal with a company that is also on TV. In the situation for AEW, Mustafa Ali would be a great signing. I think Mustafa Ali has one of the coolest characters. When he departed WWE NXT and went to TNA and New Japan, we saw what he was doing. I thought he knocked it out of the park, to be honest. And I feel like with AEW, it's great that you have a lot of great wrestlers. I feel like some wrestlers are just really good wrestlers, but they lack an identity. And I feel like Mustafa Ali has a gimmick that's going to get over. I think Mustafa Ali has a gimmick that is going to win. And also, I think he'll get a great reaction in Chicago. Obviously, nobody has confirmed whether or not Mustafa Ali will be in AEW. I've heard rumors that that is a possibility. So, Phil, to answer your question, I think we do see it happen. I also like the fact that it's not being talked about, because if it does happen, I think it's going to be a little bit more genuine of a shock. I think Tony Khan is notorious for having great surprises at AEW All Out, and we'll obviously talk more about the card and the predictions, but I do think so. I do think so. I think for AEW, by the way, if you bring in Mustafa Ali, you get a great character, you get a great wrestler, you get a guy with great work ethic. I also think it would be really good for AEW to bring in Mustafa Ali and let him work New Japan, let him work in Mexico, let him work in the UK, let him do that, right? Like, let him be the guy. Look, I love so much. I love talking about the International Championship, and I understand Will Ospreay and Ricochet, probably the feud that's going to happen. But I want somebody to take that belt with them everywhere. I want to see that belt show up in multiple different promotions, multiple different indies around the world. Mustafa Ali has the perfect gimmick to hold that belt. And I just feel like Mustafa Ali would bring a lot of excitement to AEW. I'm not saying Mustafa Ali is going to turn AEW from 600,000 viewers to 2 million viewers. Not one person is going to do that. I talk about Shane McMahon. I talk about people. It's not that. It's a collective thing that needs to happen. But for AEW, the way that I kind of look at it is, if you put great talent with great storylines and great characters, and you don't do it just once or twice, but you do it several times, I feel like that is going to be the thing that ultimately gets people hooked. And because Mustafa Ali left TNA, which I'm not going to lie, I was kind of bothered by it because I loved his X Division Championship reign. But when I saw that he left TNA, I think the writing was on the wall. And as you guys all know, WWE is working with TNA. AEW is not. I think that is something that you can keep in mind. I also think if Mustafa Ali were to pull up in AEW and he does work with the other promotions, I think it's a little bit more favorable for him. Some people in the chat are saying, okay, well, what about Mustafa Ali returning to WWE? And I guess technically that is possible. Anything is possible. But I don't think WWE wants Mustafa Ali in that character, which was the reason why they did not keep him. There, you know, the thing is with Mustafa Ali's character, which, by the way, this is probably going to turn into a rant, so I'm just warning you guys. But Mustafa Ali has a character that TV networks would deem too controversial. And first of all, in pro wrestling, controversy creates cash. But pro wrestling is no different than any of the other scripted shows on Fox or on TBS. It's not. I don't know why wrestling is the industry that, like, TV networks want to slap on the wrist, because I swear I watch Law and Order and NCIS, and I watch all these shows, all these crime scene shows. I watch all these different, you know, whatever. All these scripted shows have a little bit of controversial characters in them, but for some reason in pro wrestling, when a wrestler wants to portray a political character in some capacity, it's considered controversial. And I don't know. I don't like that. I don't agree with it. I've never been one to agree with that. I've never been one to like that. Because to be honest with you, it's scripted. So for whatever reason, WWE and USA and Fox, like, they didn't want that character on TV. They didn't want it on TV. I don't know why. It was very silly. But I feel like the gimmick would work in AEW, and I do feel like Mustafa Ali going to AEW and being on Warner Bros. Discovery, I feel like maybe they would be a little bit more lenient about that. So if I were Mustafa Ali, I would go to AEW. And I understand that there's going to be a lot of people too that also say that maybe AEW is bloated roster. Trust me, I get it. I know. But Ricky Starks is probably on his way out. I'm sure there's other wrestlers that Tony Khan's waiting for their contracts to expire. I'm sure not every single wrestler in that company has a full-time deal. So, yeah, I very much can see a situation where Mustafa Ali joins the company at All Out. I will say I don't think it happens at the time that Shane McMahon debuts. If Shane McMahon were to debut at AEW All Out, I don't think there's going to be an association. Because whatever Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir have, I don't think it really makes sense for Mustafa Ali to join that faction. The vision that I'm seeing for that faction, I don't think aligns with Mustafa Ali. And I don't think Mustafa Ali should be brought into a faction where he's playing second fiddle to a Jon Moxley. So I do see it being a scenario where it is separated. And some people will say, well, hold on, Ango. Why would AEW do multiple debuts? That's what All Out is known for. And I said this before. I was there, 2021, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson. I mean, surprise after surprise. Tony Khan, he needs to keep people excited. Do it at All Out. Do it at All Out. Get these surprises out of the way. Whatever you had planned, whatever you had cooking, do it right now. And hopefully use that momentum as a way to build your TV show, because yeah, they are struggling to get viewers. And they'll eventually come back around, but eventually fans will come back around. Eventually AEW will get it figured out. It really comes down to marketing. I think perception is reality, and I think AEW right now is losing the perception war to WWE. I don't think that's a secret. The only way to catch back up is by continuously putting out great TV. Right now, that's what they seem to be doing for the most part. I feel like this year has been a lot better for them. Bring in Mustafa Ali. What about Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate? That could also happen, right? There's a lot of possibilities, but yeah, I do think so. Hopefully that answers your question, Phil. Thank you for the super chat. Did we get any other super chats that I missed? No? Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat. Do I think Shane McMahon will debut at All Out? I do. Unless AEW wants to hold off on that, but I do. What about Bobby Lashley? Bobby Lashley's a possibility, but also Bobby Lashley is training for a boxing fight as well. So who knows? We'll find out. Okay, let's take a look at the card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches on the card right now. I'm sure Tony Khan will be coming out with a tweet at any moment with a whole bunch of other matches, because that's kind of how Tony Khan does things. But as of right now, we got 7 matches that we'll talk about. Championship matches, tons of big names being left off the card as well. But I figure we would talk about it. And the first one that I want to talk about is the match that excites me. I talked about it on yesterday's stream. MJF versus Daniel Garcia, probably the easiest match for me to predict on this card. It's like the one I care about a lot. It's the one match where I feel like if AEW doesn't give it to Daniel Garcia, they have absolutely lost their freaking brain cells. If Tony Khan does not have Daniel Garcia beat MJF, I'm just making it very clear to you guys. I'm making it very, very clear. I'm making it so damn clear. If Daniel Garcia does not win, Tony Khan has lost his brain cells, because this is the chance to really create a star. Something that AEW has not done that well with consistently. Consistently is the key word. It's not something that they've done well with consistently. So I do want to point that out. Consistently speaking, AEW struggles. Daniel Garcia's got the crowd in the palm of his hands right now. MJF losing to Ospreay. MJF losing to Daniel Garcia. MJF can bounce back. If Daniel Garcia loses, he can't bounce back. My prediction is quite simple. I think Tony Khan has finally figured it out. I think he has re-signed Daniel Garcia. I really do. I'm hopeful that he re-signed Daniel Garcia. It hasn't been confirmed, but I think he has. And if he has re-signed Daniel Garcia and doesn't have Daniel Garcia win, again, Tony Khan would have lost all of his brain cells. And I really hope Tony Khan didn't lose all of his brain cells, because AEW has been pretty damn good this year. But this is one of those things that I get pissed off about. So my pick is Daniel Garcia. This is going to be a very, very fun match. There's a lot of heat behind this. There's a lot of meat on the bone with the storyline. It's one of the better builds going into the pay-per-view. So I 100% believe that Daniel Garcia is winning and should win. We have the AEW Continental Championship match. Okada versus Bitch versus Bitch versus Bitch. It's a fatal four-way. We don't know who's going to be in that match. We won't know just yet. We got to wait until after Collision. Or after Rampage, I forgot. So I can't predict this match, because I don't know who else is in the match. So unfortunately, I'm not going to predict that. But I really don't feel like the Continental Championship means anything in AEW right now. So yeah, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not really predicting that match right now. Nor do I care about it. Who else will be in it? I guess we'll find out. It is what it is. We have a Chicago street fight between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. Ooh, I like this storyline. I like the fact that it's a Chicago street fight. And I like the fact that it's Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander. Both are really, really good. Both are really good. You know, this is a coin flip. It could go either way. I think you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff in this match. I think you're going to see a lot of crazy spots. But I actually think Chris Statlander is going to win. I think you're going to see Chris Statlander win. And, you know, listen, you're trying to put over the heel. She's the bad guy, right? So that's one of the things that you got to pay attention to. It's all about, you know, what you're trying to elevate and what you're trying to do long term. I think Chris Statlander is obviously, you know, we saw what happened at All In. Now it's at All Out. She gets the bounce back. It makes a lot of sense. We got a $4.99 super chat from Ango. Love the consistency of the afternoon live stream. I love you. Thank you for the super chat, but I love you. We got the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks versus Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Another match I really just don't give a shit about, to be honest. It's probably going to be a good-ass match, but I don't know, man. AEW Tag Team Division is ass right now. It's not good. It's not good booking. It's not good storytelling. WWE and AEW need to figure it out because there's no reason why you should have the world's best tag teams. No reason at all. And this is what we're coming up with. Let me look something up really quick, actually. I'm just curious. This tag team division lacks so much identity and so much vision. The Trios champions are not defending their belts, but the Trios champions, the guys that hold the Trios belts, are also going to go for the tag team belts. It's just dumb. But you got the Acclaimed. You got Dark Order. You got Colton and Austin Gunn. You got so many more tag teams, bro. Top Flight. You got LFI. Bang Bang Gang. Private Party. Premier Athletes. Who else? You got Shane Taylor Promotions. You got all these different tag teams, bro. You got House of Black. Undisputed Kingdom. The Patriarchy. Okay, Lucha Bros are probably going to WWE, so it makes sense for them not to be involved. You got SAP, Spanish Announce Project. You got Butcher and the Blade. You got The Righteous. I mean, holy shit, look at all these tag teams, and this is what we're coming up with? The Grizzled Young Veterans. This is literally what we're coming up with, guys. Not good. My pick is the Young Bucks. Young Bucks will successfully defend. They'll retain their belts. Maybe we'll get some more stuff with GAYV. I don't know. But yeah. Strange, right? I find it kind of annoying, actually, now that I think about it. Like, all those tag teams, yeah. It's pretty ass. Pretty ass. Who the hell even came up with this idea, bro? Alrighty. We got the, so I picked the Young Bucks. We got the AEW TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida. Camille is banned for ringside. Another Mercedes Moné match in AEW that I just simply don't care about. I know this is highly controversial. I see people tweeting me. I see people in the chat. They talk about this. I see people talk about this. And to be honest with you, I will say... Oh, give me 1 second. My bad. I gotta... Sorry, bud. You're in timeout. Yeah, look, this is where we're at with this, okay? Let's just break it down. Mercedes Moné is not entertaining in AEW. I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again. I do not care about this feud with Hikaru Shida, if that's what you even want to call it. I'm a huge fan of Mercedes. I think she's one of the best to ever exist in the world of women's wrestling. This is not it. This is not it. This is simply not it. And I'm not trying to be negative Nancy. I'm just trying to be so honest with you guys because you deserve my honesty. What Tony Khan and AEW have done with Mercedes, it just doesn't feel like a big deal. It doesn't feel like a big deal. It doesn't have that aura, that presence that makes me want to tune in. I do like the idea of Camille being banned from ringside, but I do believe Mercedes Moné is building a faction here. So I'm sure somebody else will debut or somebody else will join, and the CEO will have her own little posse of people that will help her out. Hikaru Shida doesn't really have momentum going into this match, so I find that to be another issue. I don't know. I'm not the only fan sitting here talking to you guys about Mercedes, because I feel like a lot of people at this point have understood that Mercedes is not really that entertaining here. And the booking hasn't helped her. And I don't know. I'm not trying to make this a WWE versus AEW thing because I know that's a delicate topic for people, but at the same time too, it's just a night and day difference. The way she was perceived in WWE versus the way she was perceived in AEW, it's just night and day difference. I do not care about this match. I didn't care about the build. I'm not interested. Mercedes is going to retain. Hikaru Shida will lose. It's the same old bullshit, to be honest. They have a stacked women's roster. And I feel like none of these people have momentum at all in the slightest. Shida doesn't have momentum. Deonna Purrazzo doesn't have momentum. Britt Baker spent a lot of time off TV, so therefore she doesn't have momentum. Athena is the ROH Women's Champion. She should be in AEW being their champion, but instead she's wasted away in Ring of Honor. Anna Jay just went on an excursion, so that's why she can't be featured or have any momentum within AEW. Maybe Julia Hart comes after Mercedes. I don't know. Maybe that's something that they do. But I'm looking at this women's roster and I think, okay, wow, they got like a lot of cool names. Sky Blue, Taya Valkyrie, Thunder Rosa. Nobody has momentum in this women's division. I don't know. That's kind of odd. Mercedes is winning this match. I don't care about this match. I probably won't care about the post-match stuff, but hopefully it's good stuff. Hopefully, if they have any. And if not, it is what it is. The AEW International Championship, Will Ospreay versus Pac. This is going to be a banger, obviously. But I don't care about this match either. I'm not going to act like I do. Because Pac is the Trios champion with Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. The Trios belts aren't on the card, but they both have championship matches. The match is going to be sick. You're going to watch it. It'll probably be a 10-star match. Dave Meltzer will definitely get he'll get a hard on for this match. That's for sure. But this match doesn't really have substance. It doesn't really make me excited to watch All Out. And that's how it works, bro. I told you guys. I told you guys I don't watch pay-per-views if I don't have a super interest in them. There's 2 matches on this card where I'm like, damn, I gotta watch those 2 matches. But everything else here kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. And as much as I would love Pac to win, I don't think he's going to win. I think Will Ospreay will win. Maybe get a stare down. Maybe we get the stare down with Ricochet and Ospreay again. I don't know. But this just isn't it. It'll be a great match, though. For sure. You want to watch guys do a whole bunch of flips and crazy maneuvers? This is the match for you. It's going to be fun to watch. But I don't have like any emotional attachment to it. Zachary says, what are the plans going forward for Ricochet? I swear to God, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you at all. I couldn't. But AEW's in no rush. Ricochet isn't either. So I don't know. Again, I'm not worried about it though. Ricochet will be fine just doing matches. But my guess is that Ricochet and Ospreay will happen very soon. So, we'll find out. My pick for the match is Will Ospreay. And we'll see how they move forward. We got Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this match is Bryan Danielson. There's no way in hell that Jack Perry is winning this match. Let's get that out of the way. But this will be how Shane McMahon debuts. If he does debut, Shane McMahon, Marina Shafir, Jon Moxley, whatever's happening there, I think it's all connected. I think they go after Bryan Danielson. I think Jon Moxley goes after Bryan Danielson. I don't know why. There's not really been anything on TV to think that will happen. But I could see that happening. Somebody put in the chat, Christian Cage cashing in his little contract. That could be the case. Maybe Jon Moxley and Marina Shafir and Shane McMahon stop that. I don't know. This match, the TNT Championship, not being defended on pay-per-view, okay, I can live with that. Jack Perry versus Bryan Danielson does absolutely nothing for me. I don't think this is really well thought out. I don't think Jack Perry's a main eventer. This is becoming redundant. I literally talked about this yesterday. So my pick is Bryan Danielson. But I do think whatever we get with Shane McMahon or whatever's happening with Jon Moxley, I think it happens after this match. And that's obviously going to intrigue me. If it's just Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry straight up, I really don't give a shit about that. But it is what it is. This match is also not main eventing the pay-per-view, and that is because Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page are main eventing with the Steel Cage Lights Out match. This is one of the biggest biggest matches that AEW has ever produced. So I'm super excited about this. This is not sanctioned. Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page, Steel Cage, Lights Out. This is going to be absolutely insanity. This is the match I care about the most. This is the match that's the only reason why I'm even buying the pay-per-view. And I think it's very simple, guys. Swerve Strickland has to win. Swerve Strickland has to win. I love Hangman. I think Hangman needs a win too. That's why this is such a hard match to predict. But I think Swerve is going to win this match, and Swerve will remain at the top of the card. And then I think whatever's next for Hangman really leads to Hangman joining the Elite at some point, or rejoining the Elite. And then they go all in with them as heels. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Zachary just dropped a $1.99 super chat. He says Hangman should dethrone Bryan. This will be fire. Yeah, I mean, Hangman should be a world champion. 100%. If he loses this match, you could kiss that goodbye, though, because he needs to win. He needs momentum. And AEW has Jack Perry and Darby Allin and Christian Cage. They have a whole bunch of opponents for Bryan Danielson. And none of them are on the level of Swerve or Hangman, which is actually the most insane part about it all. Just keep that in mind if you guys didn't realize that. None of them are on the level of Hangman or Swerve. The way Hangman and Swerve have been booked have been nearly perfect. So just keep that in mind. And that's where I get a little bit disappointed, I think, with AEW. Booking matters, dude. Booking matters. Weekly booking matters. So, in this match between Swerve and Hangman, by the way, Zach, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, my boy. Between Swerve and Hangman, I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to is just the fact that this is a blood feud, bro. This is, you come after mine, I come after yours. Eye for an eye. This is the type of shit that's going to slap, I swear. I think this is going to be one of the best matches in AEW company history. I genuinely believe it. So on a pay-per-view that has a whole bunch of shit I don't care about, aside from MJF and our good friend Daniel Garcia, this is the only other thing I truly give a shit about. I'm excited about it. I'm picking Swerve Strickland. I understand the importance of Hangman winning, but Swerve losing his belt and then losing to Hangman, I feel like will derail him. I feel like that would be problematic. So, again, that's kind of the issue that we're at. They got to be very careful how they book matches. WWE and AEW do this thing where they book matches where really the person in the match should not be losing. And since it's lights out, it's not sanctioned. It's not a sanctioned match, right? AEW is going to say it doesn't really count because it's a blood feud and it's not being sanctioned by the company. Yeah, screw that shit. Perception's reality. If I see Hangman Page get pinned, Hangman Page is going to look a little bit weaker than before he got into the match. Same thing with Swerve. Whether or not Tony Khan says it's sanctioned or not, that's some bullshit. We don't give a fuck. Okay, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is AEW All Out. Yes, there are probably going to be some matches on the pre-show 0 hour. I never give a shit about those because AEW doesn't give a shit about those. Obviously, it is what it is. It is what it is. BB in the chat says, your explanation of the card explains why the show isn't sold out, and it says it all. Yes, 100%. I mean, look, there's a reason why they are not selling out of the card. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But they better do better. House of Black aren't on the card. I mean, there's so many people not on the card. And then you're going to tell me that I shouldn't give a shit about those people because they're going to be on the pre-show anyways. I'm straight on that. All Out, the beloved event. I was literally just talking to my boy. We go every year. Not going this year. It's weak. It's a weak card. And it sucks. It sucks that we're at that stage where this is literally how it is. But that's literally where we're at with it. So, shucks. That's AEW All Out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break. And we'll be right back with some more to talk about. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Trust me, you're not going to want to. Cody Rhodes is getting sued, and I want to talk about that shit. So, yeah. All right, we're back. Shout out to y'all for sticking with me. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before we went on a quick break. Hold on, let's just refresh this for a second because I feel like I saw a super chat and I don't know what the hell is happening. Did I miss a super chat? Maybe I did, or was that a tip? Let's see. I'm gonna find out right now. I don't want to forget anybody's super chats. That's why I'm checking. We got a tip from Josh. Thank you, Josh, for the $20 tip. No question added to it. Not a big deal. Appreciate you, my boy. Thank you. Thank you. All right, cool. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this lawsuit, huh? Brandon Thurston of Post Wrestling and WrestleNomics reported the news that a punk rock musician. Oh, hold on. I just lost the link. All right, we're back. Okay. So, Post Wrestling and WrestleNomics, Brandon Thurston reported the news that a punk rock musician named Wesley Isold has sued the WWE, Cody Rhodes, and Fanatics over alleged trademark infringement, breach of contract, and intentional interference with contractual relations. Isold has been the lead singer and co-founder of the band American Nightmare since 1998, with the band touring as recently as last year. He holds the trademark rights to the term, something he registered in 2016 for use in music, clothing, and entertainment services, according to a filing with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Now, with that being said, Cody Rhodes applied for the term in 2019 for wrestling-related purposes and was opposed by Isold, which I feel like I remember this because that was AEW days. The two sides agreed to a settlement in March of 2021 to resolve the dispute. The report noted, under the settlement terms, Rhodes was allowed to use American Nightmare on his merchandise under the condition that such items prominently used Rhodes' name, likeness, or wrestling-related imagery in a size at least 75% larger than the American Nightmare text, according to the one settlement agreement provided as an exhibit to Isold's complaint. In exchange, Rhodes at the time agreed to a one-time payment to the musician of $30,000. Now, Isold claims that Cody Rhodes, WWE, and Fanatics have violated the deal by selling merchandise that failed to meet the agreed-upon conditions. Isold claims WWE is selling merch with the phrase with little or no reference to Rhodes or the use of wrestling imagery, which is confusing both fans of his band and WWE fans. He also alleges other items violated the agreement and cited various instances. In addition to covering attorney fees, Isold wants damages of at least $150,000 and treble damages of up to $300,000 related to the federal trademark infringement. And Cody Rhodes and WWE are being sued. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys think of this? Okay, look, let's talk about this. Trademarks are tricky. Trademarks are tricky. I see a lot of people are talking about this. I see a lot of people are on social media talking about this. And one of the reasons why they're actually talking about this is because of the fact that this has happened before. Now, typically, this is kind of how it works with trademarks. People do buy up trademarks in hopes that somebody tries to abuse it and use it. That way they could take them for their money. So a lot of people don't feel like this is a genuine lawsuit. Now, I don't know who the hell this singer is. I've never heard of the band American Nightmare, so there's no possible way that I can be confused between the two. Now, I'm going to do something. We're going to pull this up really quick, and we're going to do this together for the sake of this stream. We're going to go to WWEshop.com because I'm just curious to see what American Nightmare stuff looks like. So we're going to do it together. Let's pull it up right here. WWEshop.com. Let's fix this really quick. All All right, I just got to scale it down for a second. My bad. Transform. Okay. We got to find American Nightmare merch. I want to see what the actual issue is. So maybe it's just better if I search for American Nightmare. So we got this right here, this hoodie. Cody Rhodes. Says American Nightmare. I mean, I can't really tell you what the size is of the American Nightmare. Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare. American Nightmare. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, guys. I see the Cody Rhodes merch with his face on it. I don't know what is considered wrestling imagery. I guess obviously the lawyers will have to figure that out, but Cody Rhodes. I mean, everything that's pretty much Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare literally says Cody Rhodes or American Nightmare on there. Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare, story finished. American Nightmare, but it's his logo, so I don't know. It's a very interesting lawsuit, and the fact that Cody Rhodes and WWE are being sued, I don't know the legalities of this. I don't know really with the agreement or whatever. Clearly, there is some confidence that they're going to win this lawsuit. It's interesting. It's interesting. What do you guys think? I'm reading the chat. Steve says he sued before. They had an agreement and he feels Cody isn't upholding their deal. I just feel like old boy is making a money grab. Yeah. That's kind of what it seems like. A lot of people think this is a money grab. I could understand that. I could for sure understand that. According to Spotify, American Nightmare has 20,000 listeners. Yeah, I mean, look, Spotify, you could inflate your numbers, so I don't know. Kind of weird. Kind of weird seeing that all unfold, I guess. Interesting. I'll say that. It's interesting. For sure, it's interesting. In other news, TNA has a new signing. I kind of want to talk about that. TNA Wrestling has officially announced that Heather Reckless has signed with the promotion. Heather Reckless worked the TNA Impact tapings in June in Chicago. She competed against Ash by Elegance. She returned to the company for the tapings in Kentucky following TNA emergence. She said to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, she says that she wrestled for them twice. Her first match was with Giselle Shaw. This was like a year ago. They finally came back to Chicago a couple times. I went to Bound for Glory, but the show was packed. I had to wait for the next time, and I finally got an opportunity. She was approached to sign with the company shortly after her match at the Kentucky tapings. She said that she spoke to Gail Kim, and Gail Kim opened an office door and told her to come in, and she offered her a contract. I mean, that's pretty cool. For TNA, listen, I don't want to rant about this, but let's talk about TNA for a minute, okay? Let's talk about TNA. Let's talk about signings. Let's talk about the roster. And the best way to do this, actually, guys, I'm gonna just show you. I'm gonna just show you TNA Wrestling. We're gonna look at their roster together because there's something very interesting happening in the roster. So let's just show you. This is their women's division, my friends. They got Alicia Edwards, Ash by Elegance, Danny Luna, Gail Kim, and Gia Miller are not active competitors. Giselle Shaw just left the company. She was released. She requested her release. Jody Threat, Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is rumored to have left. Killer Kelly just announced that she's pregnant. Her and Myron Reed are expecting a child, so she's no longer competing. Kylan King is out with an injury. They got Masha Slamovich. They got Spitfire. I mean, they got Sue Young and Tasha Steelz. They got Zaya Brookside. All great people, all great talent, but there's a lot of inactives in the women's division, knockouts division. Okay. The reality is there's a lot of inactives in this roster. One of the biggest strengths about TNA was their knockouts division. For the longest time, that was one of the things that people talked about all the time, which was their KO division. And we have gotten to a point, unfortunately, with this company where it's a little hit or miss right now. That is problematic. And listen, Heather Reckless is not a big prominent name. And that's okay. You don't need to have big prominent names. It doesn't need to happen all the time. You don't need to have big prominent names every single time by any means. I feel like that's one of TNA's biggest advantages, is signing people that may have not been like necessarily known. But at the same time, I think it's important to acknowledge that TNA is slipping. Also, let's talk about this. Last night during TNA Impact, TNA showed a vignette for Xia Li, a former WWE superstar who was released. Now, we don't know if her name is going to be Xia Li. It's fair to say that it probably won't be. I believe the name that's being rumored going forward is Xia Zhao. Xia Zhao, I believe, is how it's being pronounced. Which is good. But when we go back to this women's roster, and we take a look, there's a lot of inactives. It's lacking some star power. So that is something that we got to keep in mind. Heather Reckless is joining the company. Cool. Xia Li joining the company. Cool. But at the same time, too, it's important that we acknowledge that this KO division needs a little bit of work. You got Killer Kelly taking time off. Kylan King's not there. Nobody knows what's happening with Jordan Grace. Giselle Shaw is gone. This is a company that is struggling a little bit with their KO division. Rosemary's in the company. She's doing some stuff with NXT, and that's cool. Steph DeLander signed. I love TNA, guys. I love TNA so much. I really do. I love TNA a lot, bro. But at the same time, it's important that we acknowledge that this company is struggling to attract bigger free agents. That's the bigger issue. MN drops a super chat for $1.99 and says WWE needs to send over unused wrestlers. That's what they have been doing. WWE has been doing that. They are helping TNA out a little bit. They have been helping out a little bit. We got Carmen Petrovich there. We got Ariana Grace there, and that's great. But we got 2 new signings in the women's division. None of them are game changers. None of them are big, valuable names. And that's exposing the problem that TNA has, which TNA is going to have a very hard time signing some of the bigger names. They lost Deonna Purrazzo. They lost out on the opportunity to get Camille Brick. There was no way in hell that Mercedes was going to sign with TNA. They need a big caliber name, bro. They need a big caliber name. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to attract a big name. There is also a little bit of a tease of Wendy Chu going to TNA, which is cool. But this is a company that has been long known to have the best women's division ever. If you know anything about TNA, You could talk. Listen, we could talk about the Bischoff era. We could talk about Dixie Carter. We could talk about Billy Corgan era. There's so much we could discuss. But TNA has always been notorious for having a strong knockouts division. So that's where I have a little bit of an issue here, because it's clearly not the same company in that regard. And I do feel like when they lost Deonna Purrazzo, that hurt. If they lose, I mean, they're losing Giselle Shaw. That hurts. But if they lose Jordynne Grace, mark my words, that is going to be very, very problematic. That is going to be catastrophic for this company. It is. Their biggest strength is now starting to become one of their biggest weaknesses. And I don't like that for this company. I don't. I do not like that for this company at all. Love the fact that TNA is bringing in Xia Li. I love the fact that they're bringing in names. But these are not the strongest names that you could be bringing in. And maybe that's the risk of being a third company, the number 3. But you can't survive off WWE just sending you talent all the time. Don't forget that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to everybody who stopped by. Thank you so much for coming up and pulling up and joining us today. You guys are incredible. I appreciate you all. We'll be back live next week, Monday at 12 p.m. Don't forget, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to everybody who drops super chats and tips. I appreciate you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys are all healthy, happy, successful, whatever it may be that brings you joy. I'll be on Twitter and Discord. Make sure you guys pull up. Thank you all. I'll see you next time.
Pretend that we don't care about changes, but